I've seen way too many people dive into the projector market thinking they've nailed a deal because the price tag looked good, only to end up with a screen that looks dim in a well-lit room or a speaker that sounds like it's coming from a tin can. Cheap ultra-short throw units often promise big screen on your wall, but then you're left wrestling with low brightness, washed-out colors, and a constant need for external sound. So the question that keeps popping up in the comments is, does the Epson Lifestudio Grand Ultra actually deliver on the hype, or is it another pricey disappointment? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the Lifestudio Grand Ultra different from those bargain basement options is the combination of Epson's 3-chip 3 LCD engine and a built-in Bose sound system. That's a lot to unpack because the practical impact of those specs only shows up when you start using the thing the way most people will, streaming movies in a living room, gaming on a couch, or turning a small office into a presentation hub. If you're the type who loves a cinema-like experience without the hassle of a separate speaker rack, this projector is aimed right at you. If, however, you're primarily after a simple, portable projector for occasional backyard movie nights, you might be better off with something lighter and cheaper. Let's start with the ultra-short throw design. At first glance, placing a 4K-capable projector just a few inches from the wall sounds like magic, and it truly is convenient. No need to run a long cable across the room or worry about keystone correction. Just set the unit on a low table, and the image fans out at a 120-inch diagonal with minimal distortion. In my home, the projector sits on a modest media console, and the image fills the entire wall without any visible edge blending. That convenience translates to real savings on wall mount hardware and eliminates the risk of a projector hitting the floor or getting knocked over. Brightness is where many ultra-short throw models stumble, especially in rooms that aren't completely dark. Epson equips this unit with 3600 lumens of color brightness, which, in practice, means the picture stays vibrant even with the living room lights on. I tested it during a dinner party where the overhead lights were on at 400 lux, the reds stayed saturated, and the whites didn't look washed out. For a family that watches the news, Netflix, and occasional sports games after dinner, that level of brightness means you don't have to turn off the lights completely, keeping everyone comfortable while still enjoying a crisp picture. The 4K proud branding can be a bit misleading if you read it too literally. Technically, the projector uses pixel shifting to simulate a 4K resolution rather than having a native 4K chip. In everyday use, the difference shows up when you sit close to the screen. Sitting 2 feet away from a 100-inch image, the image still looks detailed, but you can occasionally spot the sub-pixel grid if you stare long enough. For typical couch distance viewing 4 to 6 feet away, the image retains impressive sharpness, and the HDR processing gives strong contrast in dark scenes. If you're a hardcore videophile who demands native 4K and plans to sit close to the screen, you might notice the gap. For most households, though, the visual fidelity feels more than adequate. Let's talk audio because that's often the overlooked piece of the projector puzzle. Most projectors ship with tiny built-in speakers that sound like they belong in a phone. Epson's partnership with Bose changes the narrative entirely. The integrated Bose system delivers a room-filling sound that, during a test with a high-energy action film, managed to reproduce explosions and dialogue with enough depth that I didn't need a separate soundbar. Even at lower volume levels, the audio was clear and balanced, which is a big win for families that don't want to clutter the room with extra hardware. However, there is a trade-off. The speaker system is still limited by the size of the projector housing, so while it's far better than average, true audiophiles will eventually want a dedicated sound system for the best experience. The Lifestudio Grand Ultra also doubles as a Google TV hub, and that's more than a convenience feature. With over 10,000 apps pre-installed, you can launch Netflix, Disney+, YouTube, or a gaming service without an external streaming stick. The interface runs smoothly thanks to the processor dedicated to handling video and the OS simultaneously. In practice, switching from a movie to a video game is as easy as pressing the remote's home button, and the system remembers where you left off on each app. If you're already embedded in the Google ecosystem, Chromecast, Google Assistant, Android phones, this built-in integration eliminates the need for extra dongles. On the flip side, the remote feels a bit cramped, and the UI can feel sluggish when navigating through a long list of apps. If you prefer a lean setup and already own a streaming device, that might feel redundant. Another practical aspect is the lamp life. Epson's laser technology is marketed as a lamp-free system, which translates